You're welcome to Kunmi Exclusive, your destination for premium fashion. My name is Kunmi. Journey with me as I show you how I cut and sew this style for a client using 2.5 yards of duchess fabric. I will leave you for a few seconds to study the style, then we get started. This right here is the fabric I will be using. The first line is the starting point, while the second line is my client's half length, and the third line are hip line, which is 8 inches away from the half length. How did I calculate? How did I arrive at my client's half length? I simply added 2 inches to my client's underbust measurement. The length of this dress, my client's preferred length is 55 inches. I will simply add 1 inch right there, and it's going to serve as the hemming allowance of this dress. Come over to the upper part of the fabric and indicate your client's shoulder measurement. My client's shoulder measurement is 14.5. Half of that is 7.2, and then I added 0.5 inch to that for sewing allowance. From there, I came down by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch slope, I'm going to determine my client's armhole depth. How do you determine it? Simply divide the bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5 inch to it. So my client's bust is 34 divided by 6 plus 1.5 gives me 7.1. That's what I marked right there. I'll come right here and determine the width of the neckline. I'll be using a width of 3.5 and a depth of 1 inch. Mind you, this is the back piece. While the depth of necklines can differ, like the depth of front neckline can be different from the depth of back neckline, the width, however, has to be the same. Now that we have used 3.5 for the width of the back neckline, the front definitely has to be 3.5 as well. I'm going to slant this. This is the shoulder slope. I always say that our shoulders are not straight, so it has to be slopey. I'm just adding 0.5 inch to it because there's going to be a joining at the shoulder. So that zero point 0.5 is the sewing allowance. Right here we'll be marking the client's bust measurement. Our bust is 34, don't forget, divided by 4 plus 1 inch. That calculation gives us 9.5, which is what I just marked. I will be placing my client's bust measurement on her waist as well. Number one, this dress is not going to have a zipper at the back, and we need the waist measurement to be able to pass through the bust when she's wearing it. Also, there is a ruffle at the back of the dress, so the little excess we have left we cater to that. I just marked the midpoint of the armhole and I'm creating a slight curve. You're familiar with this already. My client's hip is 35 inches divided by 4 plus 1 inch gives us 9.7. So I just marked that. I will go over to the hem of the dress and I'm going to connect. Don't forget that we have 9.7 at the hip line. I'm just going to make it 16 at the hem. You don't want it to be too slanty as well. So I'm just going to leave it at 16. That's about 9.25. I cut a pattern that stops at the waistline of the back piece. Can you see? It's exactly the same. Now we are going to be extending the line at the armhole region all the way to the other side. Now, if you want to be detailed and excellent at it, just check what you have right here and place it right here. Then you connect with your ruler just to be sure your hands are straight. You are going to cut through. Now, this fabric is going to be for the front piece, and it's going to be higher at the upper part by 8 inches. I'll tell you why. So these 8 inches I'm marking is going to be the facing for the cowl part of this dress. A lot of people often don't know how to turn their cowl necks. This works every time I have to make a cowl dress. Just leave some spaces at the upper part of your front piece. So you can go down by 8, you can go down by 9 inches. The idea is just to have the facing long enough to um not pop out or make you uncomfortable or overly conscious while you wear the dress. So I'm going to determine how full and how deep I want the cowl to be. Now, if you want to slay and as well be modest, I think 10 inches is fair enough. So, which is why I marked 10 inches right here. Now, my pattern is going to be placed right at that 10 inches marking, and I'm going to pin. So, place your tape like this and slant it upward. Place your ruler, place your ruler like this and slant upward. Now, I just remember that I really need to do, I have omitted a step, but it's not too late. So, what I omitted is that I was supposed to lift up the pattern like this, then come in by 0.5 inch before slanting it. I'm going to show you what I mean right now. Extend by 0.5, go in by 0.5, then connect your slanting to it. Automatically the front piece has a facing, while we are going to have to stitch the facing of the back piece to it. In the process of stitching the facing of the back piece, you are expected to have stitched about 0.5 inch off the shoulder. Do you understand? So that is why we moved backward a little on the front shoulder by 0.5 inch. We are not going to be stitching the facing of the front piece. I don't know if this makes sense to anyone. Just keep watching. It's very straightforward. So aside the upper parts of the front piece, Every other thing is the same. Every other thing is the same. Like I said earlier, there's not going to be zipper allowance. Luckily for us, the neck is wide enough. Our head is going to pass through. The waist is also the same as the bust, so it will pass through our bust without any difficulty. Right here, I'm going to cut facing for the back piece. So there are about two methods I use in cutting my facing, but in this tutorial, this is the one I will be using. If you use this, your facing is not going to be popping out. You know how that you wear some dresses and then you have to keep tucking in the facings because they keep flying out. We are not going to experience that with this method of facing. Can you see? I have opened up my back piece. I have opened up the facing as well, and I just placed the facing on my back piece. The right side of the facing, mind you, is facing the right side of the back piece. This is the front piece. I have stitched the facing. I have also top stitched. Can you see? So you know we came backward the other time by zero point 0.5. So directly on top of that zero point 0.5, I notched, right? So my weaving starts and ends at that notching. Open up like this. This is the automatic facing the front piece as. Can you see? We don't have to stitch anything on the front piece in the name of facing. Can you see? Now I'm going to place the back piece on it, and the first thing we would be doing is to attach the shoulder. You can simply stitch by zero point 0.5 like that, but there is a more excellent way of doing it. So put the front piece in between the back piece. Can you see? Then you stitch with zero point 0.5. In case you didn't get it at the other side, let me show you again. Place the shoulder of the front piece in between the shoulder of the back piece. You know, the back piece has the main fabric and then the facing. So place the shoulder of the front piece in between the two, then stitch with zero point 0.5. The notching we gave it previously is going to make this process easy. Now, this is what we seek to achieve. I have placed the two fabrics together, the front and the back piece I mean, with the right side of each of them facing the other, the right side of both facing the other. And I forgot to notch, so I'm just going to put the two fabrics together again on a four folds, and I'm going to notch the waist and the hip. Now this is the loop we would be putting at the waist region, and this is the strip we will later be designing the back piece with. I didn't exactly measure the strips. I just ensured it was longer than my client's waistline, but it shouldn't be too long actually. In case you are wondering how I stitched it, so this is how I folded it and then I just stitched. So the front and the back piece are placed like this. I'm going to place my client's bust measurement, which is 34, half of that is 17, and then I will check what I have left. Whatever I had allowance I have left, I will be sharing it on both sides of my fabric. I will come over to our waist. You know, we are also using 34 for the waist, right? So half of that is 17. I'll mark 17. Then I'll check the allowance I have left. I have 2 inches, so I'll be sharing that. I'll take 1 inch here and take the remaining 1 inch on the other side of the fabric. With the head of my ruler, I'm going to make a straight line. I'll come over to my client's hip line. Don't forget that our hip is 35 inches. Half of that is 17.5. It's indeed a small size. So I have marked 17.5. I'm going to check the allowance I have left. I'll share it into two. I'll take half on this side and the remaining half on the other side. Now, seeing that the allowance I have is about 1 inch, both at the bust and at the waist, even the hip line, I'm just going to go over to the hem of the dress and take 1 inch as well. It doesn't make it slanty because right from inception when we were cutting it, it was slanty. Come over to the waist region. Each of the side of the dress is going to have two loops folded like this. So for record, it's just about 2.2 inch long. Fold it like this. Let the folded part be in and then the part that is open be like this. Can you see? So leave about 0.5 inch like this. Can you see? And then you secure with pin. From that waistline, I will be going upward by 3 inches. That's where the second loop is going to be. Once again, I will fold the loop like this, and I'm going to ensure that the folded part is in, and then from that sewing allowance I'm going to ensure I have 0.5 inch left. So I'm going to stitch straight down. Everything I did on this side I will be repeating on this other side as well. Everything. Then I'll fold the hem of the dress. So can you see what we have? Having stitched, I overlocked and then I folded the hem of the dress. What we are left with, which is the last stage, is the sleeve. This sleeve covers um the palm halfway. It stops around the knuckles. So my client's preferred length is 24, so I will be adding 1.5 inch sewing allowance. 0.5 is going to be for attaching the sleeve to the shoulder, and then the remaining 1 inch is going to be for folding the hem of the sleeve. So I have marked 10 inches right here. That's how wide my client wants it to be plus sewing allowance. Um, this is the cap height. My client's cap height is 3 inches. How do you get that? There is no universal figure. Simply divide the bust by 12 and add 0.5. My client's bust is 34. Don't forget, divided by 12, 12 plus 0.5 gives me 3 inches. Now, you would see that I'm marking 11 inches. That's my client's elbow. So the roundness of her elbow is 12 plus 0.5, which is going to be for sewing allowance. I'm going to connect it to the hem of the of the sleeve. Can you see? Now we are left with determining the roundness of the armhole. Get your dress and measure. You can start from the shoulder, you can start from the depth of the arm or from the joining under our armpit. Just ensure you measure round and don't forget your starting point so you don't measure twice. Right here I have 16 inches. Half of 16 is 8. So if if you are making a custom dress, and which means you may want to leave at, you can mark exactly 8 inches if you would want this sleeve to have allowances. But if you are sewing it like a ready to wear and you know ready to wears don't have unnecessary allowances. So if you don't want unnecessary allowances, just minus one from half of your armhole measurement and mark. So I if you slant it like this, can you see that you still have more than the half of your armhole allowance, half of your armhole measurement? So what I'll do, I don't think I want unnecessary allowance. So I'm going to minus one. That means I'm marking 7 inches. I don't know if you understand. When we measure the armhole round, we had 16 inches. Half of that is 8. If you want the sleeve to have excess allowance, mark the exact half of your armhole measurement. If you don't want unnecessary allowance, just minus 1 from half of the armhole measurement. Locate the midpoint and mark. By the time you place your tip like this, can you see that we still have 8 inches, which is half of the armhole measurement? Can you see? So this is the midpoint. Curve it like this and then curve it like this. We won't be indicating front or back of the sleeve. It's quite unnecessary for this style. Trim off the excess. When you are measuring your clients, you can tell them to indicate, give the wrist, give the palm excess. So I'm marking the sewing allowance that I gave the sleeve 0.5. I simply gave it 0.5. There's no way our palm can grow so much that we would ever need sewing allowance for those regions. So to know the allowance that we are going to mark at the upper part of the sleeve, I like to do it like this. So I'm just going to take the sleeve round the armhole. When I get to the end of the armhole, I'm going to give it extra 0.25 allowance. Can you see? Extra 0.25 allowance. So I like to do this process twice. So I'll do it again. I'm going to place it right here, which is actually how I will eventually attach the sleeve. Placing it on the armhole by 0.5, which I will later be stitching it with. I'm going to take it round like this. When I get to the end, I will give it extra 0.25 allowance. Can you see that we still have allowance? Imagine that we now use 8 inches. Imagine we didn't take off 0.5. We would have had 1 inch right there. I don't want unnecessary sewing allowance. So I'll connect, go over to my sewing machine. I'm going to stitch directly on the markings that I did, eliminate the sharpness right here. After stitching, I will overlock, fold the hem of the sleeve and show you. So let me show you what it looks like on the wrong side. I stitched directly on the marking and then I overlocked. After overlocking, then I folded the hem of the sleeve. I did the same for the two sleeves. Right now, what is left is to simply attach the sleeve to the armhole of the dress. So this is how you are going to attach the center of the sleeve placed directly on the center of the shoulder, and then you're going to attach the two joinings at the armpits like this. So I'm going to fold my allowance like this. I like to fold it like this so that if I later need to release it, it will be easy. Can you see that it fits in perfectly well? This method always work for me. So I'm going to stitch and overlock. Here you go, guys. This is the outcome of the dress. Did you have a good time with me? I'll be expecting to hear from you in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more insightful tutorials. Bye for now.